Hello, and welcome to this demo for the OpenLegacy Hub. The goal for today is to explain you how the OpenLegacy Hub is a very useful tool for business analysts. The solution is a completely graphical user interface, which is defined or built to help you, reduce the need of coding and the need of understanding of any other types of platforms. The hub is absolutely 100% agnostic from any type of technologies. And the way it works is starting from getting your legacy assets, we use the OpenLegacy CLI to make that conversion beforehand. Everything can be done on the hub. So the day in the life of the business analyst is going to happen on the hub. And once the business analyst is in the hub, they will be able to use solutions, persistent solutions from places like the Solution Center. And the Solution Center will help you create those contracts easier and satisfy the needs of the business as it is. And finally, you will be able to deploy your services. Optionally, the business analyst can create a low code or full code solution for the developers to be able to enrich, create, or add whatever type of logic to the services. And then the developer can take this back to the hub and then deploy the service by the business analyst. So the OpenLegacy Hub is a self sign up solution. You can basically go into this URL, and what you will find is the hub. Let me just log out for you to see how it works from here. You can go to sign up, put in your data, and you will be getting an email from OpenLegacy, and that email will allow you to basically just get in, put your credentials, and with those credentials, you will be getting into the hub. The initial screen of the hub is what we call the dashboard that will describe for you all the assets that you have in your service. Could be projects, modules, and also could be services. So you can see all the assets that I've been working with in the past. It also has a section that we call the Get Started. It's a description of how all the components interact between each other. You can start from, using the modules that you have preloaded. Each module is going to have a sets of assets. Those assets are going to be typically the methods that you can use to access your data. And then you can create projects based on those assets and also based on the Solution Center. If you have, let's say, pre-existing contracts, you can bring those pre-existing contracts to the project process, and then you can generate that contract and deploy that service very easily. So how the CLI and all that previous part should happen, it is described here. But as mentioned, this is not oriented for the business analyst. This is much more like developer oriented, and this is the process that they must follow to do the original or the initial upload of all the information needed for the business analyst. Once all this is done, the business analyst will have, will spend their day mostly on the solution, on this part of the solution, and they will be able to either create a new project. So let's call this a test project. And when every time they create a project, they need to define the three concepts. One is the project name, and also the modules that they're going to use, and also the contracts that they want to use. So they can add modules. Let me show you, for example, modules related to the account. I have a Kix transaction that allows you to manage accounts inside of a mainframe, bank accounts. And then I've already put a module there. I just need to create a contract. I can auto-generate a contract, which should be very easy. And then for each one of the methods and the assets that I found, I automatically created those mappings that I needed to have for the inputs and the outputs. So I know this is a list of accounts, and I immediately understand from the copybook, the original copybook, that this is going to have accounts information and that I'm listing that information. So I'm bringing everything as output, as you can see here. And in the input, you will see that I have basically no input because I want to expose everything that I have. So that's the way you can create a contract from scratch, and everything is going to be, very easy for the analyst. Let's say that the analyst, they want to not to expose all the information because this particular contract doesn't want to show any specific information or all the detailed information of the, the the accounts. So I can disconnect something in here, and then I can tell, okay, I don't want to show the let's say this subtype. Okay, I can disconnect this, and that's how I'm creating a new contract, which is going to be different from the original. I can disconnect as many as I want or connect them all, and then the only thing I need to do is to save and close. From here, I just created a new contract, right, and a new project. The only thing I need to do is basically deploy. The deployment button is completely configurable. In this case, we are deploying to an AWS EKS infrastructure, which is OpenLegacy's infrastructure. But optionally, the customer can decide to deploy this into a test environment, or any environment that they want to run their APIs on. Um, Particularly, the OpenLegacy Hub, also you can work with profiles, and you can define a profile for testing, for development, for any of the environments. So this is the way you just created an API and deploy that API into a Swagger spec just for testing purposes. I'm going to run this for you. If I list the accounts and I just clean this field without input, I'm going to execute this, and you'll see that I'm getting the response from here. And if you notice, well, you may not know, but the contract is the contract that I just created. It's not the full contract, because that's the way you can change and deploy your contracts very easily. Just logged in into the hub from the CLI, make sure that I'm pointing to the correct environment, and then make sure that I'm using the right versions. And from that, I can basically run a script which is gonna create the hub project. And let me open that for you here. These are the series of OpenLegacy instructions. First, we delete if there's any project like that with that name. Then we create the module. After we create the module, we make sure that we have the right connection to the mainframe. This is basically the way we ensure we're accessing the correct environment. And then we start creating an asset and testing that asset for each one of the methods. By the end of the process, we just upload the module into the hub, and then we create the project. And the result of that execution, it's the one I'm showing you here. You can see I run it, the process, and tested for each one of the assets. And by the very end of the process, I delete one of the assets, and then I push the module successfully into the hub, and then create the project into the hub. This is meant to be fully automated. As you know, CLIs go very well with any CI/CD solution that you may have. You can, install this CLI in that same server where you have your CI/CD tool, and then call the OpenLegacy instructions to be able to execute the upload of the information inside of the hub. You can automate that process to run, daily or weekly or whatever is at your best convenience, and that's the way you're going to be feeding up information into your hub. Thank you very much.